sent them here. For whatever be our watchword, conquer and prevail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, such plains then would all hail. When across the world we wander, this will be our song. Honor, love, and true devotion, all to here belong. For whatever be our watchword, conquer and prevail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, such plains then would all hail.
Okay. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Mr. Jones, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Bauer,
Here.
Ms. Boroff,
Here.
Ms. Brody,
Here.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Here.
Mr. Yanni, Ms. Williams,
Here.
Ms. Winkler,
Here.
Dr. Kolakowski,
Here.
Mr. Murray.
Here. If everybody could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Executive session, we went through personnel, HIB, suspension and detention, and a legal status update. Don't have any additions to the agenda. I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Mass for the superintendent's report.
So first of all, thank you for coming tonight. We are celebrating a very impressive success, and we're looking forward to that. In addition, this week we had questions for the superintendent over at Terrell Middle School, and we really enjoyed the conversation that occurred. The biggest piece is planning for the future, taking a look at where we are now and where we need to go to make sure that all of our learning spaces and all of our buildings are prepared to keep our schools in place to maximize student success.
Thank you, Dr. Mass.
And yep, Mr. Jones is going to expand on that.
Okay, so I'll sort of jump around and mention some of the things later on, but I just want to start off by discussing our enrollment. Enrollment at this point from last year, we're up 93 students from last year. And to put that in perspective, that's 5 classrooms. And so you either get add classrooms or you increase class sizes, right? That's spread out amongst the different grades. So with that, we have started planning for, public vote to raise funding for potential expansion of the schools, or a multitude of options. And first thing I want to talk about is explain a referendum or a public vote, what that is. But before I do that, I sort of want to talk about why you do the vote. And I'll start with the operating budget. So our operating budget is used for day-to-day. It's used for salaries of teachers, staff, custodians, coaches, those types of things. We do general maintenance out of the budget. If there's something that needs to be repaired, our grounds. And then we can do small capital projects. Like, for example, if we need, as we've done over the past, we've expanded air conditioning, but because we only have a limited amount of money for capital projects, it gets expanded very slowly. In addition, we can do, partial roof replacements, things of that nature. But when you have enrollment like this, this growth, we don't have the funds to do a very large capital project. And so going to the community for a vote to raise funding for this is something that is it's actually taxpayer efficient. So when you going to a vote, the state will give you funding depending on the project. So if we pay for our own money, it's our capital reserve, we call it. That's just taxpayer money. When you go to a vote, the state will chip in depending on the project. They will chip anywhere from 5% of the project up to 35%. So a significant savings. The other thing with that is we're a school district. We collect taxes. We don't pay taxes. But the one thing we do pay to the state every single year, and it's about $170,000 a year, we pay to the state into this fund that actually funds the state payment for these capital projects. So we've been paying in for years, but not really seeing the benefit of that state aid come back to us. So no matter what we're paying into that fund, it's whether we use it or not when we go out to a vote. So we are looking at that. So what does that mean? In order to do that, we need to engage the community. So hopefully everybody here has seen a survey go out to the community. That's been rolled out. We have 1,700 responses so far. I encourage anybody to tell anybody they know to, because that represents the voice community, and it talks about what projects or what's most important, and it'll guide the board and the administration to what we should put forward. The other thing we've done is we've had focus group meetings, we call pre-referendum committees, where we've met with people and got their deeper feedback on the survey and more information. We had the coffee with the superintendent. We're doing a survey of students at the high school. In addition, we've had meetings with our architects at every single school with teachers, staff, principals, and the middle school and high school level students. So all this to say that we are making sure that we're partnering with the right people, that anything that we would potentially put out the vote would be aligned with all of our stakeholders in the community and in the schools. So we're really excited to kick that off. Look forward to additional communication at each board meeting. We plan on launching a website that will sort of start small and then expand as we get more information and give more updates to everyone. And we expect that to launch within the next 2 weeks, we're hoping, to get it up. And it'll be very basic in the beginning, but then we'll expand as time goes. So we're excited. We're excited to plan for the future and partner with everybody here to invest in the future.
Mr. Jones, could you go back to the referendum
Yep.
piece and just define what that is?
Yeah, referendum is a public vote to essentially fund the school, so raise taxes. So we're looking at a special vote. We have a tentative date, September of next year, and yeah, you'll go out and vote on what you want to fund. And there'll be a lot of information leading up to the vote too, if we go forward with it, relating to it.
So it's a public vote on funding that the
mhm.
district then pays back in a year, or?
Yeah, so it's like I would say it's a bond. It's similar to a mortgage, where you would you take funding out and you pay back over a number of years. And also with that, I would say we currently have no debt on the books, and I would say it's very rare that for school districts not to have any debt, and municipalities as well. And the last time the community's done a vote like this is it's been over 20 years. So I think we're due for something like this.
That's the last time we had a referendum. It's been over 20 years.
Over 20 years, yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Time ago.
Very good.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Jones. Board President announcement. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law is enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which businesses affecting their interest is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Scotch Plains Federal Board of Education has caused notice to the meeting and published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Board of Education offices listed at 512 Cedar Street, Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Such notice was also provided in a written notice forwarded to the Union County Hawk, Star Ledger, Township Clerk of Scotch Plains, the Borough Clerk of Fanwood, and the annual notice of regularly scheduled meetings as adopted May 9, 2023. I'm now going to move over to our two student board reps for their updates.
Yeah, so we have a lot going on at the high school right now. Marking period 1 just ended 2 weeks ago. So we're at the beginning of marking period 2, which ends on January 30th. The fall play occurred 2 weeks ago, which was Romeo and Juliet, and it was actually the high school's highest selling fall play ever. And going along with that, we have the auditions for the spring musical, which is The Addams Family, have just occurred. So that whole process is starting up. And with DECA and FBLA, which are our two very popular business clubs at the high school, we're in the middle of regional testing this past week for those regional competitions, and historically our high school does very well at these competitions. So I personally participate in those, and I know a lot of people are excited.
Awesome. And to go off of that, DECA's Mr. Spiffy High is happening tomorrow. So it's a school tradition which is run by DECA, and it helps raise money for a good cause. And I think it's really fun to attend for a good laugh and to support a good cause. Going off of that, National Honor Society, we had our World Language Honor Society induction happen last night, and our induction to our chapter of the National Honor Society is happening next Monday. So that's exciting for all the juniors and seniors that are getting inducted. And finally, winter sports started this week. So that's winter track, swim, basketball, wrestling, bowling, and hockey. So bowling had their first game today. This first swim meet is on December 7th. The first hockey game is on December 9th. And both basketball teams had their first game on December 14th. And all of our teams had really great seasons last year, and we're hoping that they continue to do great this year. And yeah.
Thank you. And one thing for the parents who haven't read their email yet, for high school students, your report cards are available on Power School.
That too.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to the instructional update. So in order to ensure that those that want to be here stay and those that don't want to be here can get out of here, we're going to recognize the girls' varsity gymnastics team. So I'm going to ask Ms. Mitchell to go up, read the resolution.
Here. Okay.
Is Ryan going to say anything? Or did you want to speak? Ryan, did you want to say something? Or
Usually Ryan doesn't, the head coach says. Read the resolution.
or the head?
Read
It's
the
usually Ryan.
resolution first. Ryan, resolution first.
Ryan does the typical introduction. Sorry, Mr. Miller.
That's never a problem at all. Thank you so much for having me come up here. On behalf of Coach DeBella was unable to attend today, but she sent me something she wanted me to read. Students, you got to get up here and be recognized.
Right up here. Right up here.
So you have to come up here as well. So Coach DeBella sent a message, and she said, "I apologize for not being able to attend this meeting in person. However, I'd like to extend my biggest thank you to the board for recognizing these amazing athletes. Coaching this team was one of my greatest accomplishments, and I couldn't be prouder of how this season wrapped up. The team worked extremely hard to keep our county streak alive after 5 straight county wins. This was definitely one to remember. Our team was one of a kind. We didn't just rely on one single athlete's talent, but rather the talent of every member. We plan on keeping our success going for years to come. And on behalf of myself, my assistant coach Tara Bozatornik, the entire gymnastics team, we thank you for honoring us tonight." So that's Coach DeBella. I get to talk to you all. What made you so wonderful, and I said this to Coach Tara when I was talking to her at the end of the season, this wasn't just one person leading the charge and everybody else following. The way you supported one another was incredible. And in a sport that's judged harshly for any little mistake, for any little toe out of place, for any little foot that didn't get placed the right way, to have a group of young athletes come together and say, "I care more about you than I care about my own score," is magic. And congratulations on all that you achieved.
Congratulations. Whereas the 2023 varsity gymnastics team continued to be part of the athletic history of the Scotch Plains Family High School. And whereas the team competed in 2 invitationals, the Raider Invitational at Hillsborough on September 23rd and the Cougar Invitational at Cranford on October 12th, finishing in the top 3 in both. And whereas the team hosted the Union County Interscholastic Athletic Conference Championship on October 19th and earned a 5th consecutive Union County Championship. And whereas the gymnastics team is comprised of the following athletes. And and I'm going to try really hard with the names, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. Alisanne Ball, is that right? Alisanne. Ella Bergio, Taylor Clement, Delaney Farley, Ava Fazio, Caitlin Harr, Sophia Hedda, Mary Kate Hoffman, Erin Kennedy, Kelsey Lubalin, Eva Pereira, Nicole Perez, Ashley Sakia, Heather Sherman, and Maureen Whitney. Whereas the varsity gymnastics team exhibited outstanding talent, dedication, and as Mr. Miller said, teamwork throughout the season, and was led by head coach Marissa DeBella and assistant coach Tara Bozatarnik. This team received well-deserved recognition from fellow students, staff, and the Scotch Plains Fanwood communities for their outstanding efforts and accomplishments. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Scotch Plains Fanwood Board of Education recognizes and congratulates the 2023 varsity gymnastics team and their coaches, Marissa DeBella and Tara Bozatarnik, for their outstanding achievements and wishes them continued success in all future endeavors. Congratulations.
Yep. Yep.
Say cartwheel.
This is the part of the meeting where you should probably leave if you don't want to stay. But do feel free to stay if you want to stay.
We won't take it personally.
Congratulations, everyone.
Yeah.
So for the next instructional update, I'm gonna ask Dr. Rabimbis to do the January 23 to June 23 School Safety Data Systems (SSDS) report.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. The New Jersey Department of Education utilizes the Student Safety Data System, SSDS, to report on the Electronic Violence and Vandalism Reporting System and the Harassment, Intimidation, and Bullying Investigations Trainings and Programs. I will report on the EVVRS, and Ms. McFadden will report on the Harassment, Intimidation, and Bullying Investigations Trainings and Programs. The data presented is based on 5 identified categories by the State Department of Education and is entered biannually into their reporting system. This data is reported publicly to the board 2 times a year. The following data is for the period of January 2023 to June 2023. In the category of violence, there were 5 incidents reported, vandalism, 0 incidents reported, weapons, 1 incident reported, and substance, 8. And Ms. McFadden will report on the HIB category, which is 19 confirmed and cases and 36 alleged.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
The following data is for the reporting period of January 2023 to June 2023. Total number of investigations was 55. Number of confirmed HIV cases was 19, and the status of all investigations is completed. Our 55 investigations were completed by myself for Brunner, as well as SPFHS, Taylor France for Coles, Christina Rusi for McGinn, Laura Ledowski for School 1, Amanda Wolf and Lauren Markovitz for Terrell, Jason Cross and Christina Krasovsky for Nettingham, and April Chesting at Evergreen. Our other investigator is Jessica Ness for McGinn. For remediation, we had a referral to school counselor / student assistance specialist, student assistance coordinator for check-ins, check-ins with the ESS counselor, counseling support with the case manager and school counselor, conference with assistant principal, small group lessons with student assistant specialists, referral to ESS program, referral to social skills group, conflict resolution group, and whole class lesson on what is a friend. Our trainings included managing stress and anxiety in the classroom, sand play training, nurture heart approach, threat assessment team training, substance/child abuse training, energy bus training, staff meetings, looking at mental health through a cultural lens, managing sudden traumatic loss in schools, the role of the school climate team, presentations on social emotional learning and responsive classroom practices, school safety/climate team meetings, HIV training for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade stakeholders, HIV reporting, scenarios, and discussion for high school staff and district, district ABS and ABC meetings. Our programming included the end of the year 8th grade milestone celebration events, morning announcements designed to promote kindness and student engagement, Pride Month activities designed to promote representation and allyship for and with LGBTQ+ student population, Heroes Leadership Program, ESS Counseling Program, PALS, STAR, Agents for Change, LEAD Program, which is Drug and Alcohol Abuse, Health and Wellness Committee, End of the Year School Climate Survey, World Heritage Month Morning Announcements, Equity and Social Justice Faculty Reflections Program, Pink Purple Week, School Spirit Week, Women's History Month Program, Black History Month Programs, Power Hour Lunch, Read Across America Week, Reading Buddies, McGinn Day of Global Cultures, Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week, Second Step SEL Lessons, ACE, Career Explorations Day, Field Day, Student Spotlight, Green Dot, Dave Cilio Memorial Color Run, Incoming 4th grade visit, Mikey Fallon Anti-Bullying Assembly, 4th grade Snowball Social, Variety Show, Super Bowl Food Drive, Hip Hop Fundamentals Assembly, 4th grade Holocaust Presentation, Brenner Multicultural Night, Brenner Art Show, 3rd grade Cinderella Showing, Social Skills Group / Lunch Bunch, Evergreen Kindness Week, Autism Awareness Month, Scott Chesney Assembly focused on positive peer relationships and the power of communication, Kyle Dine Assembly for food allergies and self-acceptance, BMX Anti-Bullying Assembly, Celebrating Differences Day at School 1, School 1 Pride Character Education Program, Kids on the Block Disabilities Assembly, School 1 Multicultural Night, Lessons in School-Wide Bubble Celebration of Different Brains, SEL Day, Rutgers Behavioral Health Counseling Program, Math Sense of Belonging DEI Initiative, Shining Forth Program to commend students with exemplary behavior, Upstander Lessons, Stepping Up Orientation for Rising 6th grade students, Incoming 5th grader Orientation, Red Tail Review Monthly Newsletter, Cyber Safety Assembly by New Jersey State Police Officer, Former Student / Author Visit, Karen Val, Zuzu Acrobat Assembly for Black History Month, 6th grade Holocaust Survivor Guest Speaker, Brain Challenge Quiz Game, Environmental Club Action Week, Take Your Child's Birthday, 6th grade Social, Field Day, International Sports Week, Matthew Bellis Guest Speaker Assembly on Peer Pressure, and Power Back Dating Abuse Assembly. Anybody have any questions?
Can you repeat? No, I'm just kidding. No, that was very thorough. The list seems to get longer and longer every year.
Yeah, we have a lot of programs coming, especially towards the end of the year. Like that's usually when a lot of the programs happen.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you both. We're going to move on now to public comment. The first public comment section. So in accordance with Scotch Plains Federal Public School Bylaw 0164-10165, the meeting will be open for 15 minutes for public comments, maximum 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing superintendent items, business functions, and other board business will be heard first. In the time remaining, speakers may address other matters. Speakers, please state your full name and the town in which you reside. Please note boards use the public comments period as an opportunity to listen to citizen concerns, but not to debate issues or enter into question and answer session or the cross-examination between the public and the individual members. Be aware that not all issues brought before the board will be addressed or resolved that evening. Boards may respond to public comment by seeking additional information or by delegating the authority to investigate the issue to the superintendent or his or her designee. With that being said, I'm going to now open up the first public comment section for 15 minutes. If you have a public comment, please step forward, state your name and the town in which you reside.
John Denning, Scotch Plains. So it may be the recent passing of Matthew Perry, but I was thinking of a Friends episode where Phoebe goes on a date. The date's absolutely horrible. As a last-ditch effort, she asks the guy, "What do you do for a living?" And he replies, "I write a line of erotic children's books." Now, of course, this premise was meant to seem absurd. No one would write such books. But in fact, such books are written, geared towards children with highly inappropriate material. And recently, several such books turned up in our SPF libraries. These books were specifically geared towards children, with one book including page after page of naked people and even a depiction of a young girl sexually pleasuring herself. This book was made available to children as young as 9. Now, I appreciate that Dr. Mast had the courage to stand up to the people who put these books in our library by removing them. I know they want to rant and scream about banning books, even though they can easily order a copy for their own children if they wish. You must have the courage to resist these individuals who wish to use the school to impose their values on the children of others. Their logic is completely wrong. Take, for example, soda. It's not banned, yet we don't serve it in the cafeteria. Or alcohol and smoking aren't banned, yet we prohibit their direct advertisement to children. Why? Because broadly speaking, they don't have the maturity to handle them. So if the schools can be happy not distributing soda to little children, I think we can be comfortable not distributing pornographic and gratuitous materials. However, this situation still represents a double failure. First, that someone would deliberately attempt to introduce such material to children and expend public funds to do so. And second, that despite public and repeated assurances by Dr. Mast that our books are all professionally reviewed by highly educated individuals, these books and doubtless others have been delivered to the district for distribution to minors. So my question is, what is being done to address these procedural failures? And what about classroom libraries that are completely undocumented? Dr. Mast, you are the top administrator in this district. You have observed and acknowledged a failure of the safeguards of our children. It would be reprehensible to see such a failure and not take corrective action. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Denning. Anyone else have a public comment? Don't worry, we have security.
Perfect. Gary Morris, Vanderwood. I just wanted to bring up a thing that I was made aware of recently. Westfield now has an anonymous speak up program. Exactly what I suggested about a year ago. And there's nothing that bugs me more than Westfield getting someplace before we do. All right. And we've seen it on the soccer field, unfortunately, this year. And you don't want to get beaten by Westfield. Let's take a look at this program. And I think theirs is a little bit flawed. It's only for students. I think it should be for parents, and it should also be for teachers to anonymously report something. It's a completely different thing when your kid is in the school and they see something that's not right and they tell you about it and you want to do something about it. There's a certain amount of, Dad, don't embarrass me. Obviously, I don't have that problem now. My kids aren't in school. So it's just, you need some way of getting these things out there. We saw the AI issue in Westfield that occurred. The sooner you find something out, the sooner you could nip that in the bud and stop it from spreading and becoming a bigger problem. So I think it's kind of the canary in the coal mine. And I think the sooner you get information about an issue, the sooner you can deal with it. And so, again, don't let Westfield beat us on this, please. Let's get a speak up program that's an anonymous program that allows students, teachers, and parents to report things that are wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. And if we pass our referendum, we would have beaten them as well.
Good evening, Dr. Mast, members of the Board of Education. My name is Colleen Joanella. I live in Scotch Plains. I want to just start by saying thank you so much for the job that you do. You put so many hours into making our schools the schools that they are, and the difference it makes for our two communities. It's just, they really are. The schools are just the heart of what is happening in our town. I know that you are volunteers. You put so much time and effort into all the decisions you make, and I appreciate you all tremendously. I also just wanted to speak a little bit about the increased communication and all of the work that is being done to really connect the school board with the public. I see it. I don't know that people take the time always to say thank you and to acknowledge the great things that are happening, but the emails that are coming through from Dr. Mast and all the opportunities that we have as the public to interface with the district leadership has really been tremendous. And I hope that people are taking time to stop and appreciate that that is not happening everywhere, and how significant it is that we all have an opportunity to really have a say in how our district is run. With that said, unfortunately, I was unable to attend the Coffee with Dr. Mast earlier this week. My daughter is a senior in high school, and I'm stealing every moment I have with her. We were watching the Devils Islanders game together in North Center. I do want to talk just very briefly about hockey. I had the pleasure this week of speaking with Mr. Miller, who took time out of his very busy day to address a concern that I have and to speak with me and really listen, and I appreciate his time tremendously. This year, there was a decision that was made to make a change in terms of the number of coaches allocated to the hockey program. Completely understandable, and I understand that there are difficult decisions that have to be made, particularly when numbers are low for a given sport. I do want to make the board aware, as I've shared with Mr. Miller, there are no less than 10 hockey players coming to the high school in the fall. That is extremely exciting. For those of you who know the history of hockey in this town, to have a given grade of 10 players or more, that is very fantastic, and it did not happen by accident. A lot of care has been taken to keep these kids, although they play for different clubs, playing as a middle school team, playing as part of spring leagues, doing work together in the summertime. We have in town now a street hockey, roller hockey rink that should be opening soon. And I think the sport will only continue to grow as hockey becomes more accessible to people. Kids will go around the corner, they will pick up a stick, they will love hockey, and they will want to play the sport. I am concerned for these 10 plus kids that are coming to the high school next year. We have a full varsity roster with only 2 seniors graduating. I don't know what happens to these kids in terms of finding a place to play the sport that they love. All athletes give up tremendous things to be able to maintain their social responsibilities, their school responsibilities, and their athletic responsibilities. Is that my 3 minutes?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's good.
I just want to say thank you again for the careful decisions you made, and please ask you to consider carefully what opportunities we have to expand hockey again for the Town Thrive and Duty program next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Giuliano.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Public comment?
Good evening. I just wanted to say hi. I'm Sonali Patrick Barbe. I live in Scotch Plains. I grew up in Scotch Plains. I taught in Scotch Plains. I'm now a parent in Scotch Plains, and I'm just really excited to start working with you guys in January and serving our community. So just thank you for allowing me to do that.
Thank you, Sonali. Welcome.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, seeing no one at this time, we'll move on to the next section. So letters to the board, 5 emails were received from the public and were sent to the appropriate administrator. Committee reports. Who would like to go first with their committee reports? Ms. Brody?
I have 2 reports.
Okay.
I'll start with the Finance Committee report. Some of this stuff Mr. Jones had already talked about, but we had our meeting on November 20th. We discussed the pre-referendum meetings that were held at each school and with each content supervisor. These meetings were conducted by our architects and detailed reports were written. At the time of our Finance Committee meeting, we had reports from the high school, Brunner, Nettingham, Coles, McGinn, and Evergreen. The remaining reports were being compiled, and we just received them, I think, today. These reports gave some general background regarding each school building and how the building is currently used in the community. The reports also reviewed any and all challenges there are with the building, thus giving a list of needs at each location.
Beth, can you speak closer
I'm
into the
sorry.
mic? Only because I just heard that people at home can't hear. So we
okay.
all need to speak into our mics tonight.
Okay, sorry about that. Where was I? These lists will be compiled so we can establish priority projects for the referendum. This project list will also be inclusive of community feedback received via focus group meetings and survey results. We also discussed the appraisal results of the building in Fanwood. The goal is to move forward with an offer contingent on the referendum results. An offer has been made to the seller based on the appraisal. Also, at the time of the meeting, we also received initial results of the community survey. At that time, we had 900 responses, and as we know, we have many, many more now, which is wonderful. We will see an updated report on the survey results as well. And also, as Mr. Jones mentioned, that we are working on a dedicated website that will have all of this information available to the public. The website will be up and running within the next week or so. There will be a link on our website as well as a dedicated email to use for questions and feedback from the public. The building reports as well as the survey results will be made available when the website is up. And then, as Mr. Jones had said, we're going to keep building that as we go. And that is finance. Can I do the other one?
I just wanted to add a little to the
questions?
comment,
Oh, go ahead.
if you don't mind. One thing I didn't mention in the opening statement was regarding the enrollment. One of the questions I get from a lot of community members is why is our enrollment up? So I just want to give a little background on that. There's multiple factors that are driving the enrollment. And biggest thing I hear is it's due to the new developments. But I will say we are getting higher enrollment due to the new developments, but it's only part of the story. It doesn't. It's not all the enrollment. In 16-17, our number of births started going up in both towns, and I'm not sure anybody knows. For every birth, we actually get 1.25 students. So what that means is once people have kids, then they move here. So they have kids when they move here. So it really drives their growth. Secondarily, the culture of work has changed since pandemic. So, people are working more hybrid and commuting further to work and more comfortable being further from the city. So, based on all those factors, I think that's the main driver of our enrollment. So I just wanted to make sure everywhere was aware that the new developments are only part of the story. So.
Anything else from Ms. Brody? Your next report.
My next report is community relations. We had our meeting on November 13th. We discussed the first pre-referendum meeting, which included a focus group, which included 36 community members. And as of the meeting date, again, we had 900 survey responses. While discussing the referendum process, there's a plan to set up a separate webpage, as I mentioned before. One thing I didn't mention before in the other report, there will be a frequently asked question page that will be expanded continuously based on community questions. And our goal with this website and all the information on it is that we have complete transparency to the process and all the information that we're working with. And that is community relations.
And the survey return rate now is over 1,600.
Yeah, that, as he said, which is fabulous. That's wonderful.
Anything else from Ms. Brody? Other committee reports?
I can go. The Student Activities and Athletics Committee met on November 6th. And while we have our amazing student representatives here who already gave us some of these summaries, I apologize. I just actually really want to note, because I don't get to express this in the notes that I provide to the Board of Ed, but when we have a chance to listen to Mr. Miller and Dr. Heisey share an update on student activities and sports, their excitement is so tremendous, and their passion for student success and character development has just been inspiring. So I just thought that was important to mention. Obviously, there's a lot to update. I'm not excluding anyone on purpose, but some brief sports updates. It was an excellent season for all soccer teams. There was a lot of development with our players. Field hockey had a remarkable season, making it to the quarterfinals in one of the hardest divisions in the state. Gymnastics, as we saw, received their 5th consecutive Union County Championship. Volleyball teams did fantastic, and the freshmen had one of their best years ever. Football ended on a great note, and we are hoping to bring back 24 freshmen next year. As an FYI, Mr. Miller started holding actual exit interviews with students graduating so that they can gain some insight on player experience and perspectives, which is a great initiative and something we haven't done in the past. There are tons of exciting clubs to discuss, but again, I'm just going to highlight a few. As a note for, I never knew this, but I'm sure you two know this, but we were shared just a tremendous number of flyers that show all the various clubs, and those are actually shared electronically with the students as well as advertised outside of door 12, which is sort of a student bulletin board. Some new exciting things. The Environmental Club has been working in the unused courtyard, and they've created a pollinator garden and ultimately to make it a self-sustaining ecosystem for the plants. Model UN has their first overnight field trip. 65 students to Hershey to compete versus other East Coast schools. Exciting news that our language clubs and honor societies trips are a go. So we have upcoming is a trip to France, Italy, Barcelona. We have students that English language learner students that are attending Montclair State University to introduce them to being on campus and how to get them familiar with campus life as well as starting to think about applying to college, which is also very exciting and new. A little bit of exciting celebrity information. Our history club, which is student-centered, they invited, and I don't have an update on how it went yet, but Robert Oppenheimer's grandson, who joined them on a Zoom towards the end of November, which I'm sure will be exciting to hear about. Everyone get ready for Robotics Club. Competitions are generally on the weekend, and the first one is coming up. And finally, the Multicultural Club is going to Bryant Park's Winter Village.
Nice.
Did I miss anything?
I think you got it all.
Questions for Ms. Boroff? We do have a curriculum report that I don't know if someone on the committee is going to read for Stephanie's.
My phone died, so I believe Ms. Winkler
Or I can
is
do it
going
if
to
you
do
want me
it.
to, whatever's easier.
I'll read it. So we met on November 14th. First, we had a discussion about our English as a second language high intensity class, which is a new class that we're proposing that is up on our agenda for approval tonight, I believe. This course would benefit multilingual learners who moved to the United States at secondary level and are still learning fundamentals of the English language and often struggle to find success in high school English classes. The course supports objectives 1 through 3 of the district's goal of focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion. As the district goal states, this course will increase opportunities to develop a district committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion through hiring practices of educational and support staff, curriculum development, and student empowerment. This course will target NJSLS for English language arts, giving multilingual learners the opportunity to learn the same reading, writing, listening, and speaking skills that are taught in comparative high school ELA classes. What else can I say? Then we talked about the access test results, about time that our English language learners have had in the program. We track our multi-language learners in the program to ensure that they are moving through and progressing. Last year, there were 83 students in the program, which reflects significant growth from previous year. The breakdown of students by longevity across all grades and schools. I won't go into all the details about that. Social studies proficiencies for AP Psychology and AP African American Studies and American Popular Culture, which is a half-year course, have been updated and are here for our approval tonight. Physical education proficiencies, were broken down by mental health, physical wellness, and safety sections. Physical wellness was updated and now focuses more on personal physical fitness goal setting rather than just team sports. And the proficiencies include suggested activities and resources for teachers. And that's also, I think, for being approved for our approval this evening. The vocal music proficiencies were updated and are also on our list for approval this evening. They reflect the proficiency levels of the students as novice, proficient, and advanced. And they were reviewed for music grades K to 6, concert choir in grades 9 to 12, concert choir band 9 through 12, Las Cantadoras, the men's choir, vocal techniques, select choir, music theory, grades 4 through 8, chorus, and piano and AP music theory. And then we also had an update on the high impact tutoring competitive grant. Preliminary approval for the project to start in February is a 9-week tutoring program. It was delayed at the state level, but we were actually looking at starting it around that time frame anyway, so that works out perfectly for us. And our next meeting for curriculum will be December 12th.
Any questions for Ms. Winkler on the curriculum report? Any other committee reports? Okay. Enrollment report, Mr. Jones has gone through that twice tonight, so I think we're enrollment reported up to date. So let's move over to superintendent curriculum.
Thank you. So the first item is asking the board to approve the out-of-district placements that are listed. The HIB, the second item is the HIB report from October 19th. The third is the listed field trips. The fourth are the proficiencies that Mrs. Winkler just included in her report. And the fifth is the new course proposal that Mrs. Winkler just described.
Do we have a motion to approve the items as read by Dr. Mast?
So move.
Second.
Do you want the second? You had it on your tongue.
Either way.
Dr. Kulikowski was the first. Ms. Brody was the second. Sorry, Ms. Winkler. Do we have any comments or questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Roll call.
Carries, does not carry. Roll call. Mr. Jones, that was not on here. For curriculum, right? Was that the curriculum?
Is this? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed it.
Ms. Bauer,
Yes.
Mrs. Boroff,
Yes.
Ms. Brody,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Winkler,
Yes.
Dr. Kolakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Murray.
Yes. Motion passes. Could have just eaten the staff. All right, we're going to move on to personnel.
So for personnel, I asked the board to approve the personnel recommendations that were made in exec this evening.
So moved.
Ms. Winkler,
Second.
second, Ms. Boroff. Mr. Jones?
Ms. Bauer,
Yes.
Mrs. Boroff,
Yes.
Ms. Brody,
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell,
Yes.
Ms. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Winkler,
Yes.
Dr. Kolakowski,
Yes.
Mr. Murray.
Yes. Motion carries. We're going to move on to board business functions.
Okay, number 1, staff training. Number 2, related services. Number 3, special education settlement agreement rescission. Number 4 is out-of-district transportation services we use through Morris Union Jointure. Number 5, Rutgers Biomedical Health Services, and motion sort of talks through what that's for. Funded by ESSER 3 grant. Library book disposals, petty cash for cash box for athletics. 8 is for grants as part of a yearly process where the grant ends and then whatever is not spent for the 1 year rolls over to the next. Number 9, theater vendors. Number 10, donation to athletic account. Basketball hoop donation. Number 12 is updated demographer report. And we did this 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago. This is just an update to reflect the increased enrollment. And then additionally, there were fairly large development announced in Fanwood that we want to incorporate into the report to make sure we have the most up-to-date enrollment projections as we plan our referendum. 13 talks to Ms. Brody's update for Finance Committee. This is a proposal to design if we would end up purchasing South Avenue building. This would help design that. Now we would only execute on this if an offer is accepted on the building. 14, long-range facility plan major amendment. So every 5 years, we are required to do a major amendment to our long-range facility plan. And that includes enrollment updates and a full evaluation of district facilities. And as part of the referendum planning, we've done that. So what I mentioned in my opening, this will update the long-range facility plan, and we'll hopefully use all of the surveys, meetings, outreach to whether all of those projects are included in the referendum or not. We will still use all the data we've collected in executing these projects over the next 5 years. 15 is just a change in wording from last week or last month. It was previously approved. 16 fire drills, 17 financial reports, 18 is our disbursements, and 19 is our bills.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any comments or questions? I actually have a question.
Yep.
The donation for athletic account, that's a new local company, like a sportswear company, right? That they're making a donation based on their proceeds or their sales or something like that?
Yeah, so this is a parent who has started a website in the business with their kids, yeah. And they've started selling SPF branded merchandise, and they are donating the profit from that to the athletics department. So pretty cool.
Very nice. Any comments, other comments, questions about anything?
Just to comment that it was nice to get that that donation from Fly 3 and also from PAL basketball.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Jones. We will now move on to the next section, which is board policies, which we do not have any this round. Board policy out for the moment. Minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the October 19th regular public board meeting minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any comments on the meeting minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New board business. Any new board business to discuss? Seeing none. Liaison reports. Anyone? Yes, Ms. Brody.
I have a liaison report for the Municipal Alliance Committee. Just the last meeting, there's a new coordinator, Joan Horowitz. She's a 30-year resident of Scotch Plains. And I want to thank Karen Steele, who has been doing it countless years. I mean, countless. And then she was replaced. She left, and then that person left, and she went back. So I just want to publicly thank Karen for that. And one of the things that we had talked about that I just wanted to make mention, on November 16th, the Students Against Destructive Decisions did a mock accident out at the, it's called Raiders Don't Risk It. And what this is it's an event that features 8 engaging performances throughout the day, each designed to simulate the consequences of poor decision-making regarding alcohol and driving, as well as the importance of wearing bike helmets. These scenarios are meant to educate the 12th graders about life-altering effects of such choices and inspire them to make safe and responsible decisions. If anybody has ever had a chance to go see that, it's really quite, it's very emotional. They actually do a mock accident where the one I didn't see this year, but the ones I've seen in the past, they have the ambulance, the police, the fire trucks, they have a crashed car, they hit a tree. They simulate the whole thing, and I don't know about this year, like I said, but they had where one of the students died, and they had the person covered up with a blanket. I mean, it's really, really quite something. And all of the kids, I think they go during gym, right? And then they all take turns and go watch. It's really, really quite something. And it's quite impressive that they continue to do this every year. So I just wanted to mention that.
Pictures are upsetting when you see it.
I mean, it's.
I can't imagine when you're there.
Oh, it's really, and parents play a part. I mean, it's really, really something. And they take the kid away in the ambulance, and the ambulance leaves. And I mean, it's like real. It seems as real as it could seem without it being real, So I just wanted to mention that, and I hope they continue to do that. Thank you.
Other liaison reports?
Not as exciting. Just kidding. CPAC is amazing. Special education parent advisory group, CPAC. We had a meeting on November 13th. There was a meeting and it was really great. Mr. Fiore from School One came in just to talk about some of the initiatives that take place at the elementary level for some of our students. And just some of the things, and we've seen this at various schools, is the buddy bench. But I didn't realize, and I'm sure not many of us do, but there's a monthly awareness of different disabilities that they do at School One. They have a Club Everyone and a third and fourth grade kids care group. So I think the important point of what we're seeing is the trickle down effect of some of the special education engagement activities that we're doing at a high school level trickle down to the elementary level, which is really nice to see. The next meeting will be December 11th. It is for only parents and caregivers, meaning there'll be no Board of Ed people there. And it is at the Scotch Plains Library.
Thank you, Ms. Boroff. Other liaison reports?
Garden State Coalition of Schools met in November, and the program was a panel discussion from some of the member districts. The focus was on assessment. They talked about testing and really everything, best practices, everything related to assessment. It was very good and a lot of opportunities for interaction. The meeting in December is going to be focused on SEL, and Dr. Maurice Elias is going to be the guest speaker. So I would recommend that if you have the opportunity to attend. And I just wanted to make sure everybody receives the emails from Garden State, right? So I'll make sure our new board member gets on the list come January.
Thank you. Ms. Bauer, any other liaison reports? Okay. We're going to move to workshops. Request to attend workshops or workshop reports. Okay. Public comment section, second public comment section, final and for the night. In accordance with Scotch Plains Family Public Bylaw 01640165, the meeting will be open for 15 minutes for public comments, maximum 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing superintendent items, business functions, and other board business will be heard first. If time remains, speakers may address other matters. Speakers, please state your full name and the town in which you reside. Please note boards use the public comment period as an opportunity to listen to citizen concerns, but not to debate issues or enter into a question and answer period or a cross-examination between the public and the individual members. Be aware that not all issues brought before the board will be resolved that evening. Boards may respond to public comment by seeking additional information or by delegating the authority to investigate the issue to the superintendent or his or her designee. I will now open up the second public comment session. If you have a public comment, please come forward, state your name and the town in which you reside.
Gary Morris, still Fanwood. I'd like to talk about District Policy 5756. The policy states, with respect to gender segregated classes or athletic activities, including intramural and interscholastic athletics. All students must be allowed to participate in a manner consistent with their gender identity. This essentially allows biological boys to compete on girls' athletic teams. Peyton McNabb is a former North Carolina high school girls volleyball player, and her life has forever been changed. A biological male who self-identified as a female spiked the ball into Peyton's head during a volleyball match, causing a concussion. Many months after the incident, she is still recovering from her injuries and continues to face health struggles such as impaired vision, partial paralysis on the right side of her body, constant headaches, anxiety, and depression. Her ability to retain and comprehend information has also been impaired, forcing her to need special accommodations at school. Here are some facts. The average height of a biological male athlete is 5 inches taller than a female. The average vertical leap of a biological male is 4 inches higher than a leap from a female. The girls' volleyball net is 7.5 inches shorter than the boys' net. Watching the boys' volleyball team win the state championship this past year was incredible. It is easily one of the most entertaining sports to watch in person. Can you imagine if one of the all-state players from our boys' team played all season with a net that was 7.5 inches shorter? Imagine the records that would be broken. It is simply about fairness. We need to protect female athletic programs and athletes. Would you be okay with your daughter trying to defend herself against a biological male spiking the ball in her face? Nearly 70% of Americans agree that biological males should not be competing on girls' teams. It is time for our district to seriously look at this issue before there is a life-altering injury as a result of this unfair policy. Needless to say, the current policy also leaves our district vulnerable to potential lawsuits from the parents of an injured girl. Please consider amending this policy by making it fair for biological girls.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, seeing no one, I'll close the second public comment session. Upcoming meeting schedule. So Thursday, December 21st is our last meeting of the 2023 year at 8 p.m. in this room. Executive session at 7:30. We will also be wishing farewell to Miss Mitchell.
Not goodbye, just see you later. See you soon.
See you soon.
Yeah,
We expect to see you around meetings.
I'll be here.
Some of them. You'll be coming, sitting here, be watching them.
Our first meeting, our first meeting of 2024 will be our reorganization meeting, and that'll be 7:30 here in the administration building. And then our January meeting is on the 25th at 8 p.m. in this meeting room as well. Now for the good of the order. Absolutely.
Two things. Okay. First, I want to congratulate Sonali and best of luck to you. I'll say more next meeting, but best of luck to you. I'll keep the seat warm for you. Okay. Second, I wanted to say thank you for everyone who puts together that from the Department of Special Services, who puts together that extensive, diverse, and inclusion, I don't know what the adjective of that would be, inclusive list of programs for our students. That was extensive and well thought out. And behind each of those names was, sure, many planning meetings and resources and follow-up. So thank you very much. Our students are better because of your department. And lastly, just to stay consistent, remember to be safe at the drop-off in the morning. I sit in my car and people are coming out of their cars in the somewhat middle of the road. I'm so excited for the robust enthusiasm to get to school, but please use caution, leave 5 minutes earlier so we can all get there safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Anyone else for the good? Yes, Dr. Kulikowski.
I was able to make it to Romeo and Juliet, and I thoroughly enjoyed the show. It was very different. A little bit of Romeo and Juliet and West Side Story and the 50s theme in there. It was really good. And I must say, David Gomez stole the show once again. He was great. And the last
Along with Romeo.
Yes. Everybody did their best, and it was just so enjoyable and thoroughly
different. I really enjoyed it. So thank you
Thank you,
to the
Doc.
actors in the play.
Anyone else?
I would just like to talk about not letting Westfield get ahead of us. We do have an anonymous reporting system now on our website, and probably similar to Westfield, it has been mandated by the state, but it's around perceived threats. I think under the category of see something, say something. So we had that up since early in the fall, and additionally, the coaching needs is something that is dynamic, as teams change in size. So that's something that is constantly reviewed, along with our book collections. That is something that Dr. McGarry has been working on in auditing with the media specialists and the supervisor of media. We look to make sure that the books are aligned with our curriculum and are age appropriate for the kids. So that's something that is adjusted, expanded, added to, and we just are. It's just a continuous effort. And I too would like to welcome Sonali soon. It's nice to see you out there.
I was just going to echo what Dr. Kulikowski said about the fall play and say, add to it that the music was enjoyable, and it was so impressive how all the lines that the students had memorized, all that Shakespeare. It was fun and it was impressive. And I wanted to comment on the artwork because it's so wonderful. Cool. And I'm not sure where it's from, but I want to thank whoever's responsible for the artwork and the messages that seem to go along with our discussions about kindness and the long list tonight and so forth. And also welcome to our newest board member.
Thank you. Anyone else for the good of the order? Sure. Okay. We're going to move on. Would anybody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Amy and Amy.
Amy.
Any comments, questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.